This is the second time I've done this workshop. Actually, it's the third time. The first time I did it, I didn't realize there was a password for the workshop and no one could get in. So it was a bit of a disaster. But you live and learn and you move on and you figure out how to make things better the next time. So as I've been promoting, this is applicable to B2B SaaS companies, but it works for any company in terms of how to make your homepage more user-friendly, how to turn visitors into clicks and conversion. So let's just start with a little bit about me. I'm not gonna, yes, Hems, the meeting will be recorded and I will also share the presentation. So I'm a fractional CMO and strategic advisor. My niche, it's very niche-y, $1 to $10 million B2B and SaaS companies. I've been doing this since 2008, mostly focused on brand positioning, messaging, go-to-market planning, and tactical execution. And when I'm not doing that, I'm playing hockey or tennis, doing a lot of traveling, and I'm a recovered journalist, like a lot of people in marketing these days. So maybe what we can do is in the chat is you can talk about, you're here for a reason, obviously. So maybe you can, in the chat, you can list the biggest issues with your homepage. What are the things that you're struggling with? What are the pain points that you're seeing that lead you to believe that your homepage needs to be optimized or tweaked or changed? So just tap in the chat and just to sort of set the stage for the discussion, give me some context in terms of what you're seeing and why you're here. So SEO optimization, understanding backlinks. Yeah, that's a big one. Keeping it updated as the product constantly evolves. More sales. Jeff, I hear you. More sales is huge. Different audiences with different problems. Adrian, that's a big one. And content that converts into quality leads. These are all big pain points. Different audiences with different problems. That's a big one that you need to address with umbrella positioning, but that's great. Okay, so obviously there's lots of different reasons why your website doesn't perform. There's lots of different things that you want your homepage to do, and that's why it matters. That's why optimizing your homepage has such a huge business on how you do business. So why are so many homepages at best meh? And bad homepages are a chronic problem for many companies. And the things that I see a lot of are undifferentiated or even worse, generic value propositions. And I'll give you some examples, lots of examples of companies that do that, even high profile companies that do that. Weak calls to action, which we'll talk about, a lack of customer research, which is something that so many companies suffer from, poor user experience, a website that's about the company and what you want to tell your visitors as actually about them, and then a lack of trust signals, which we'll talk about, things like testimonials. And the other thing to think about when it comes to your homepage, and could be urban myth, but Microsoft did a study that showed that the average attention span of somebody is 7 seconds, which is apparently less than the common goldfish. And your website has seconds to resonate, it has seconds to tell someone what you do and why you could matter to them. And if it doesn't pass that test, then they'll bounce. There's just too many options out there, too many competitive options that they will not stick around. So that's just the harsh reality of Hi, Claire, thanks for coming. What we're going to talk about today, what I'm going to walk you through is what I see as a template for a homepage that drives conversions and engagement. So at the top, we have a clear value proposition, which we talked about a little bit. You've got some social proof, so people can actually have confidence in what you do and who you serve. The benefits, again, it's about them, how your product meets their needs, what they can do with it, how it works, some social proof, and then a CTA sprinkled throughout. So that is the template that I use with most of my clients. Obviously, design matters, but this gives you an overarching framework. So how you want to think about the key elements of your website and the information that you need to tell people. Because if you look at the breakdown of website traffic, is that the two most popular pages are your homepage and your about page. And your homepage probably gets about 60 to 70% of your traffic. So a lot of people will hit your homepage and they'll never go to deeper pages. They'll never dig deeper, which is why your homepage really needs to perform and serve different audiences in different ways. So let's start with a clear value proposition. And as I said earlier, the hero image, the first thing that people see on your homepage needs to quickly tell people, what is your product? So what are you selling? What's the problem that you're solving? So again, it's about them. Who do you serve? So be very specific about the audience that you're serving. You can't be all things to all people. Although Adrian, I think you struggle with the fact that your product probably serves different types of people. And how is it better or unique? Now, for many customers, they're only considering two or three options. And you need to stand out by clearly identifying that you understand what their needs are, you're empathetic to what they want to do, and that you're different from the other choices that they're going to be looking at. And if you can do that, then you have a better chance of converting them, at least getting a conversation with them. As important when it comes to value propositions, it needs to be distinct, going back to the idea of being unique or different. It needs to be memorable. So many homepages suffer from being generic. And I'll show you some examples, and you'll scratch your heads when you look at the companies that are involved. They need to be very specific. This is the problem that we solve for this type of customer, and they need to be tight. Fewer words is better. People don't like reading copy. Most people are lazy. They want instant gratification. And if you don't tell them very quickly and succinctly what you do and why you matter, then they'll start to lose their attention. This is a quote from Pep Laja. He's a very well-known marketer who runs a company called Winter with a Y instead of an I. And he says, what gets noticed gets picked. And that is the whole ethos of a homepage hero image. So let's look at some good examples of value propositions on homepages. And I'm a big believer in clear, simple, and straightforward. So this is Instantly. They do cold email outreach. And I think this is an example of best practices. It's instantly.ai. And they get cited a lot these days for their value proposition. So 10 times your leads, meetings, and deals. There's no ambiguity about what Instantly does. So if you're looking for more leads, more meetings and deals, then this company says, we're going to serve your needs. And then underneath it, helps you. What do they do? Well, they help you scale your outreach campaigns with unlimited email sending, accounts and warm-ups, B2B lead database, and generative AI. So it's very straightforward about what they do. If I was to quibble with their value proposition or their messaging here, I would take out the generative AI. I think right now most companies are using generative AI, and if they're not, then they can be seen as Luddites. Another example is Proof. Boost your website conversion by 15% in 15 minutes. This plays off the Geico insurance, the gecko, better insurance rates in 15 minutes or less. And again, the value proposition is very clear. If you are looking to make your website perform better, they're going to help you do it by this much in this period of time. And so that says to me, these guys are interesting. They're worth exploring because that's a promise that if they make that promise, then I want to take advantage of it. And then they've got some nice social proof here. Rather than leaving it lower on the page, they've actually got a customer who says, this is what this company did for me. So another example of really clear value propositions. Jot and paste. Again, it's the fastest way to jot down a note, get it, and paste it anywhere. No ambiguity here. And what I'm a big fan of for a lot of these value propositions is the 1-2 punch is you tell and show, as opposed to show and tell. So you tell people what you do and why you matter, and then you show them the experience. So I'm not a big believer in stock photos of people looking at computers or meeting in groups. Show me what that experience looks like. If you're a B2B SaaS company, show me what your product looks like. If you're Airbnb, for example, show me what a travel experience looks like. Now, some examples of the not so good. All these companies here are online accounting services. So you've got Sage, Xero, QuickBooks, very well-known companies, but all their messaging is the same: small business accounting or simple accounting. And none of it stands out from the crowd. It's very generic. It could be any company could use these value propositions. And so they're not differentiated. So how could you tell the difference between QuickBooks or Xero or Sage? Can't, right? Whereas if you look at a company like Wave, which is a Toronto-based company, they do the exact same thing, but theirs is manage your money like a boss. Their target audience is small business owners. The pain that they have is not necessarily accounting, although it's something it's a job that they want to do, but it's managing their money. And so Wave essentially creates a little bit of an umbrella messaging that takes into account accounting plus invoices plus payments. So differentiated creative value propositions that stand out from the ones that you saw before. This is Klaviyo, which is a really well-known email marketing platform, and their messaging is power smarter digital relationships. If that's not generic value proposition, I don't know what is. And then create personalized customer experiences. I have no idea what that means. That doesn't talk to me unless I'm looking for whatever a customer experience is. So an example of a company that really well known, great brand, terrible homepage value proposition. This is Pabbly, which if you're on LinkedIn, you probably see them all over the place. Powerful applications to scale and grow your business. Essentially, this value proposition could apply to any business, anywhere. And essentially what they offer is everything but the kitchen sink. So it's essentially one-stop services for businesses, but this doesn't really tell me anything. And I hate Pabbly as a must-have. Pabbly is best in industry. Who says that? Like, where's the social proof here? These are just generic anonymous quotes. So this basically doesn't resonate at all. This is a company that does pricing information. This is an example of really terrible value proposition and awful website design. Like I see this homepage and I go, you really want me to read this content? And why is it? And the CFO's best kept secret for profitable growth. It could be anything, absolutely anything. And they say it's the world's most complete profit and revenue optimization software. Who says that? They do? Maybe. Do I believe them? I'm not sure. Now, there are always exceptions to the rule. This is mostly for entertainment more than anything else. This is a company that they're digital agency, creative agency, and the message is you're busy, so let's get to the point. We're a small, responsive guerrilla band, but the meaningful metric is the size of our ideas. If you're going to walk the walk, if you're going to talk the talk and walk the walk, this is the way to do it. So if you're a creative agency and you're looking for someone who has a different approach to marketing, then this may be an approach you may want to take. It's not to say everything has to be cookie cutter. You have to go to the template, but this is one approach you could take. Craigslist, for years, Craigslist has had terrible UX and a homepage that essentially I don't know what to make of it, but Craig Newmark, who's one of the co-founders, says, I learned that people want stuff that's simple and fast, gets the job done. People don't need fancy stuff. They just want to get through the day. And to Craig's credit, he's leaned into this and hasn't changed it forever. Then you got Berkshire Hathaway with Warren Buffett. And I'm not sure whether Berkshire Hathaway this is just a sort of no frills, Warren Buffett-like approach to the world, or whether they're winking at you and almost taking a different approach, because at the bottom, there's a little disclaimer that says, if you have any comments about our webpage, and I like the fact that it's capitalized, you can write us at the address shown above. However, due to a limited number of personnel in our corporate office, we're unable to provide a direct response. I don't know whether that's serious or whether they're just having some fun, but it works for them. It probably doesn't work for you. Okay, so the next section that we want to talk about is benefits. And this is one of the key things that I think a lot of companies miss out on, because they immediately go into product and what the product does, as opposed to what's in it for me. And that's the ultimate question that a lot of prospects want, is what's in it for me? How are you going to meet my needs? How are you going to make me more efficient, more successful, richer, help me get in better shape? So it has to be about them. And best practices for benefits are 3 to 4 benefits focused on the customer's pain and why they need your product. I find that 3 is probably the magic number. 4, if you've got, in Adrian's case, if you've got different customers with different needs, then you can expand it. And underneath each benefit, there's a paragraph, a little more meat on the bone. Clear, concise, and differentiated, going back to my earlier point about the fact that people don't want to read a lot. They just want to tell you what they need to know. And then action-oriented words: lower, accelerate, increase, improve, enhance, and screenshots, going back to our original tell and show methodology. So some examples here of benefits. So this is Home Run. This is an HR application. One clear overview for smooth collaborative hiring. So essentially saying to an HR manager, this is what you get when you deal with us. So you don't have to waste your time with spreadsheets or CVs. You can track all your jobs and candidates from one clear dashboard, and then they show the dashboard. So it's really abundantly clear. That's the benefit that I could use, and I like the look of that UX. I think I can see myself using it, and that's what you want. You want somebody to start thinking, I could see myself possibly using this product. This is what's possible. This is ClickUp. What I like about ClickUp in terms of design perspective is that they've got these benefits: improve collaboration, enhance visibility, and automate work. And all you need to do is you have to click on one of the options on the left-hand side. It provides some information about the benefit, and then it gives you, again, the experience. What does it look like when you use ClickUp? What are the benefits? How does this experience deliver for you? This is another approach from a company called Doist. And I like the fact that you use a GIF to actually show you how the product works. So here's the benefits of using this product, and this is how it works. Okay. Let me see. Sorry about this. And just one more example. This is a company called Fizz, and they're a Canadian mobile company, a new player in the market. And the benefits are just are really obvious. Here's what you get for working with us. So some different approaches here to benefits. And then a company called Pipedrive, again, right? So just tell me what I get, tell me how this thing delivers to me, and then show me what I get. Okay, I probably put the cart before the horse here a little bit, but the other thing is navigation and making your homepage and website as easy to navigate as possible. And obviously they start at the homepage. So best practices for navigation are clear and concise language. This is a recurring theme over and over again. Structured menus to reflect the buyer's journey, because you're taking them on a journey that starts on the homepage. And then you have to think about, where do you want them to go next? It could be to look at your solution, how it works, our about page, drop-down menus for secondary navigation, footer navigation, which we'll talk about, and then basically have horizontal for desktop and burger mode for mobile. So this is Cognito, just an example of a drop-down, a really nice drop-down. I like the use of icons for the drop-down as opposed to just text. And then they have another option in terms of product comparison. So if you're interested in their product, then you can compare it with other options here. Again, this is another example from Cognito for use cases. Again, drop-downs, really nice drop-downs, and then they have a call to action for case studies. So essentially showing you what you need to know, but also guiding you in terms of where you want to go next here, as far as their experience is concerned. Asana, not as sexy, but I like the idea of use cases here. And these are some examples of bad navigation here. This is Wayfair. Obviously, I think a lot of us have used this to buy furniture, but this is every single option in the top level nav that you could possibly imagine. And I think from a US perspective, they could probably put these under different categories and have a much cleaner, nicer UX. But I guess maybe the thing is here, they're just trying to be all things to all people, but not the approach that I would take if I was running Wayfair. The other thing to think about from a navigation point of view is the footer. And footers are often almost afterthoughts when it comes to homepage and website design, but they matter because people do scroll to the bottom of the page. A lot of people will bury content and links in the footer, but you have to look at your footer as an important navigation option as the top of the page. So this is Greenly. This is their footer. So the footer here is, again, right, this is actually a really good example of a company that tells you what they do in the footer, gives you a call to action in terms of the newsletter, gives you social proof in terms of who they're approved by, and then lists all the different options that you could go from there. So you just assume that you have to give people options, and a footer is a great way to do that. This is the Big Green Egg. I don't know if anyone's a barbecue fan, but if you visit their website, then really nice footer. Again, really nice design. The navigation allows you to sign up for the newsletter, and then they've got all the different options here. And so it's nice and clean. And if you have any questions or you want a different kind of experience with Big Green Egg, then this is a great example of how to do that. These are examples of footers that don't work. This is a US government footer. And I don't know why government websites are so badly designed. I don't know whether bureaucrats are just not really web savvy, but this is not the way to do a footer. And then the second part below benefits is, okay, you've told people this is why this product matters to you. This is how it's going to make a difference in terms of how you do your jobs. But then you want to essentially be clear about how the product delivers. So what does that product actually do to help you get your work done? So with Instantly, for example, they've shown you the benefits, but now it's reach your prospects with unlimited warm up. Okay, so I can actually send warm up emails to 10,000 users here. So this is a job that I need to do. I need to warm up my email list. Okay, I can do this. Okay, that's great. That gives me some insight into what Instantly does. Again, another example, instantly scale your outreach with unlimited accounts. This is another great example. Okay, now I understand a little bit better how the product works and how I'm going to use it. This is payroll. This is a company called Remote. And essentially, what they're doing here is that they've got two options here. If you're doing payroll, this is how it works for you. Or if you're an employer of record, this is how it works for you. Again, essentially getting into the weeds of the product and showing you, okay, we understand your needs. These are the biggest benefits of using our product, and this is how you actually can use it. And again, home run, I go back to this. Another great example is you can use it for application forms for a great candidate experience. So if you're looking to get people to apply for jobs, this is how you can use home run to make that happen. Testimonials, cheesy, canned, manipulated, all those things are true, but people read them and they believe them because no one wants to be first. No one wants to take unnecessary risk, and people feel better when others have gone before them and others have basically said, okay, this is my experience with this product. Roy, the previous before ClickUp, I believe that might have been home run, but I'll share the presentation with you afterwards. Okay, for testimonials, so best practices with testimonials, short and sweet. Again, succinctness is really key. Different use cases or types of customers, because people will use your products for different reasons in different ways. Not everybody uses your product for the exact same thing. Highlight the key benefits. Big believer in photos and ideally video testimonials, and keep them up to date. And what not to do too many testimonials. I've seen pages with like 10 testimonials. It's overkill. It's better to sprinkle them through your website than having them all on your homepage. Faking it, you can tell when somebody's faked it. Overly promotional, also known as unbelievable, and too long. So some examples, this is a company called Pedal. I like this in terms of, it's just the UX is really nice. And I wish they used people's last names instead of last initials, but it's just a nice user-friendly way of showing people that testimonials don't have to be dry and unimaginative. This is again, another example from Instantly, a photo of a happy customer. So the thing about this is it personalizes the testimonial. You can actually see the person, the customer right away. This is actually interesting. This is from a design perspective. This is Ahrefs. And what they've done is they have a top level, like a navigation option. So if you're a pro SEO, you've got a testimonial relevant to you. If you're a content marketer, the testimonial relevant to you. Enterprise is testimonial relevant to you. So they're basically trying to manipulate that use case situation. Not greatest design in the world, but it does give you options. This is something actually, it's interesting. This is a company called Oxio. It's a Canadian high-speed internet provider that I actually joined as a customer recently. And I like the fact that the testimonial on the homepage is not totally 100% positive. This guy had a defective modem, but the customer service was amazing. So it just reflects the fact that not every customer that you have is going to have an amazing experience. Sometimes honesty is the best policy. So it's just another quirky, different approach to take with your testimonials. So calls to action. One of the things, and I wrote about it on LinkedIn today, one of the things that companies suffer from is a passive aggressive approach to navigation. They just expect that if you put this copy in front of people and you show the benefits and the features, they'll do something. And people won't do anything unless you tell them. Just before we go, Ham's had a question. How do you make testimonials believable if you work with regular everyday people and not B2B businesses? Anyone can write anything. Well, that's a really interesting question, because I think it just, like, people can look at your testimonials and not believe them, but as long as you're being authentic, as long as you're being real, as long as you're talking to real customers and you're not essentially telling them what to say, then you do the best you can with testimonials. And you try to find ones that you think are as authentic and believable as possible. And you're going to have skeptics out there, people who won't believe your product is as wonderful as they say it is, but that's just the name of the game. Like, you're not trying to satisfy everyone, but as long as most people say, okay, I can see myself in that, I can understand what this person's saying, I think that's good enough. You're never going to be perfect. No one's going to believe all your testimonials. So calls to action, as I was saying, I'm a big believer that you have to tell people what to do, because if they don't tell them, they won't do it. So number one is clear guidance on what to expect next. So if you click this button, this is going to happen. Or you need to click this button if you want to learn more. So multiple CTOs on your homepage, probably 3 or 4, top of the page, middle of the page, near the bottom and at the bottom. Different intent. So not all, they don't, everything has to be get a demo, which in a lot of websites, or, but they could be get a demo, read the case study, sign up for a newsletter, learn more. Different CTAs for different types of actions. And then you see action words: now, today, unlock, discover, and then prominent bold buttons, so they stand out. So we can also have boomerang, add this to your Gmail. So basically it's a tool to do calendar, and essentially the action, what they want you to do is not learn more. It's basically download this thing right now. This is Trello, sign up for free with your email address. So basically do this right now. This is FreshBooks. This is another approach to a CTA, especially if you're an e-commerce company, is you put the fear of God in people, or FOMO, and essentially do this now, otherwise you're going to lose out. So there's a sense of urgency in terms of your CTA. And then Zap, your people automation platform, is essentially start with free. So you can see you're free with email or you're free with Google. And then the value proposition which changes is around automation, ticketing, and incidents. So and this is another one. This is a personal finance entrepreneur, and it's get my goodies. So a little creative, a little personal, and it's all the lessons that she has to teach. Finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about speed, because you can have great value propositions, benefits, show people how the product works, your testimonials, but if your page is slow to load, then it can frustrate users and they'll leave. So there's a data point that says even a 1-second delay in page response can reduce conversions by, that should be 15%, by 7%, sorry, 7%. So you should be testing your website speed and make sure that it loads in seconds. If people have to wait several seconds, then they'll leave. Okay, a rapid fire round. And what we could do here is you want to show me in the chat if you want me to do like a quick assessment of your website, and people can follow along. If you want to write in the chat what your website is, I'll do a rapid fire. I had somebody send me an email yesterday asking me to do a rapid fire round. So this is just an example of what I can do. So this is a company called Climate First. So your building was designed for a different climate. Okay. Resilient buildings and changing climate require an accurate account of physical risks and costs and an action to reduce them. Pretty good. Not sure what RWDI Ventures is, how that relates to the value proposition, but the CTA, build your resiliency plan. Now, assuming people know what a resiliency plan is, then they'll click on the CTAs. And I would probably make the H2 here a little more clear on what a different climate is. Like, what exactly are the challenges that are facing the prospects that you're trying to attract? And I assume these are building owners. So what are some of the things the problems that they have that you can solve? So that would be a little more focused here. If you go down the page, below the page is new climate realities, new automated approach. So this is about the product and how you use it, which is more aligned with the how it works, what you get approach. What I'd like to see below the value proposition is the benefits. So what do I get from using this product? Is it going to lower my HVAC costs? Is it going to make my building more efficient? Is it going to allow me to be more compliant? Like, I do buildings, how much money am I going to save if I use this product? So like, you're trying to get people to actually sense of what they're going to miss out on if they don't use your product. So that should be front and center. And then you can get into the product and how it works. And then finally, at the bottom of the page, it gets, again, there's more information about the product. And then here, this is what's interesting, is that below, this is lower in the page, is what is a changing climate costing your building? If I was a building owner, that would be, if you could show me how much money I'm going to save or how much it's going to cost me, then I'm going to go, I got to talk to you guys, because if I don't solve this problem, it's going to cost me a lot of money. So a little bit of reshuffling the deck here, but that's my sort of quick down and dirty view of the world. So Jeff, if you want to go to Grace's Best Cookies.com. I suspect this is a cookie site. So Grace's Best, crunchy, chewy, get snacking on a sweet treat. So e-commerce website, crunchy, chewy. So I think if what I'd be looking for here is a little more about your product, Jeff, up top. Now, what makes this product different? If people are following along, it's gracesbestcookies.com. What makes your product different other than the fact that it's crunchy, chewy, and it's a sweet treat? Now, if you go down the page, you talk about it being naturally delicious. You talk about other than that makes your product different from all the cookies out there. So I would get a little more specific about top of the page, and then you can get into the product. They also would talk about small. Maybe in your value propositions, it's small is big when it comes to flavor, something like that. Give people a sense of what your product, how it's differentiated, and why people would be interested in it versus somebody else. Hems, you had something called simple hems, simple French with hems.com. So French lessons. So again, you have a scrolling, people go, it's, if you, on top of the page is a scrolling thing that basically says, welcome, sign up, receive your ebook, welcome. Very distracting. I don't know what your product does and how it's different and why I should learn French with you versus somebody else. So are you going to can I learn French faster? Can I do it? Is it virtual or I can get one-on-one tutoring? Basically, I'm operating blind here. And essentially what you're asking me to do is look at all your products. We're just dating right now. I'm just trying to learn what you do and how you're different and why you would matter to me. And you're already trying to sell me something. So that would be my sort of down and dirty feedback on that. Oladapo has crashplan.com. We've got your backup, rocket, solid, secure computer backup and recovery for anyone, anytime, and anywhere. Good. I like that. And I like the little creative play on words. We've got your back and then in parentheses, backup, which is great. Get started. Nice CTA. If I click on your CTA, you're going to send me to your plans. Okay. Below the fold, if you look at crashplan.com, they've got some testimonials, which is great. 900,000 is a big number. I love big numbers. And then below that, you've got know what matters most is always covered. So I would look for a little more information. You've got solid backups to the cloud that restore peace of mind, but I need to know some more. I need you to tell me a little more about how that happens. What's the mechanism for that? And then you've got a little more information on the product here. I think the benefits are here. So this works. Pricing information. Would love to see some testimonials here from clients. You've got it lower on the page. Love to maybe see that a little bit higher. So that's for Crash Plan. So generally a good website. Testimonials should be higher and a little more information about the benefits. Adrian says, good, love the design. So you have a fan there. And then should we have an explainer video? Adrian asks, absolutely 100% for sure. Because some people are, as I said off the top, people are lazy and they don't want to read. And so if you can give them everything they need to know in 60 seconds, then that's the route that they'll get. Because you have readers and you have watchers. And the great thing about an overview video is you can be on your homepage, it can be in your outreach collateral, it can be on LinkedIn, it can be on social media. Like the ROI on an overview video can be massive. And the other thing is that people want information in different packages. So the hunter-gatherers who are looking for solutions will go through your website. The VP marketing or the VP sales or the CEO of a company who's your prospect won't do that. So if you can send them a 60-second video that somebody can share, these guys look pretty good in 60 seconds. That's the more efficient and grit-free that you can make your sales process, the better. Did I use the same format for my website? That's actually good questions, whether I'm talking the talk and walking the walk. So if you look at my website, marketingspark.co, value proposition, top of mind. If you want to bolster your brand, generate leads, and grow revenue, I can help. If I had to basically critique myself, I serve B2B SaaS companies, and I didn't say that. So that's something like, now I'm the cobbler trying to make his own shoes. And then if you look on my page, what I'm trying to do is essentially be empathetic in terms of trying to say to the audience, listen, if you're one of these kinds of companies, I can help you. And then I get into me. And then I get actually lower in the page, here's what I can do for you. If I had to do this, if I'm going to do this over again, here's what I can do for you would be higher in the page. So actually, I'm a victim. I'm talking the talk, but I'm not walking the walk. So it's a bit of a mea culpa on me, but this is a new website that I'll have to do a little bit of configuration on. But consulting websites can be different because they're more personal. I'm not selling an experience, I'm selling me. So part of it is you can work with anybody, but I'm trying to show people that I want people to see me, like me, trust me, and then look at some of the services that I offer. Okay, thanks for the detail. Can you provide your LinkedIn page or website? I'll provide everything. I'll send you an email on Monday with the video, with the presentation, with all my information. If you want to contact me, I will just actually get back to the presentation. So tools, again, I'll share the presentation with you. These are some of the tools you can use to look at your homepage and your website. Lots of them are free. And I'll share this with you so you don't have to write it down. And then we'll have questions. And essentially, a couple of things here. One is a call to action. So I have a service where I refresh your homepage. So I create your value propositions and better positioning. I go through a messaging framework. I'll do low fidelity mockups, and we'll essentially overhaul your homepage from top to bottom, including value propositions. So it's a really efficient way of getting a new perspective and a new take on your website, really collaborative. And if you want information, you can visit the information at the bottom there. You can also contact me, mark@markevans.ca, and my website's marketingspark.co, or you can call me if you're old school, call me. And of course, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I write a lot of content, probably too much on LinkedIn these days, but it's a way of finding out what I'm thinking and what I'm doing and that kind of thing. Questions, we've gone through a lot of things in a short period of time. As I said, I'll share everything with you so that you can look at this at your leisure. But any questions that you have about the homepage or just their website in general? As I said, there's lots of ways to connect with me. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll share all the information with you. What I really appreciate is if you wanted to give me some feedback on the presentation. As I said, this is the second time that I've done it. Would love to hear what you liked, what you didn't like, things that you'd like to see. For example, the section on speed was something that I added after somebody from the last presentation mentioned it as a key element of homepage design. Really appreciate feedback. If there's other workshops that you'd like to do, I'm working on a workshop for next week, looking at how to create better about pages. So if you're interested in that, I'll share some information with you on that. But otherwise, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. People are busy with their time, so 45 minutes to an hour is a big ask. Again, I'll send out information to you, and you can go from there. Okay, bye folks. Talk to you later.